Good morning and happy Friday. I am Chris Carter. I'm the director of the Virginia Space Grant Consortium, and it is my pleasure to welcome you here to NASA Langley Research Center and to the closing ceremony for the Virginia Earth System Science Scholars, or VESS. So this VESS program has taken our scholars through an in-depth learning experience based on the awe-inspiring work of NASA. This week, 58 students are participating in the VESS Summer Academy. More than 1,300 students have participated in the VESS program since inception. Our scholars first undertook an online course from December to May to learn about Earth as a system of systems. And their performance in the course is what earned them a slot in this week's academy. So they should be very proud of being selected to attend the academy based on their excellent performance. Here they have worked with NASA academic and industry mentors to plan missions to study critical issues that are identified by the National Academies in its decadal survey. Later, you'll be hearing from the scholars about the Summer Academy component and the missions they have designed and defended to professionals at the mission review panel that was held yesterday. Students are receiving 5 college credits for their participation in this program through our wonderful partnership with the Virginia Peninsula Community College. Primary funding to support the program comes from the Commonwealth of Virginia, with significant in-kind support from NASA Langley. And VESS is also supported with contributions from the Virginia Aerospace Business Association and the Society of American Military Engineers. And we would also like to thank the very generous contribution of Howmet Aerospace. Their funding allowed us to add 20 students from the Hampton Roads regions to this academy. And this is our 7th year of offering the VESS program. Our scholars consistently tell us what a difference this program makes in their academic and career choices. It's been a real pleasure to work with NASA Langley Science Directorate on this project. I can't say enough about the NASA, the academic, and the industry mentors who generously donate their time to work directly with our scholars. This is what makes this program so unique, is their direct interaction with these subject matter experts. The networking here is just tremendous. Our master teachers also support the program, and the scholars also greatly benefit from interacting with the interns in the program. They will all be recognized later in the program. So Virginia Space Grant is committed to enhancing science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM education, and providing opportunities that encourage students for careers in these fields. We believe that this real-world applied learning, like VESS, offers the best kind of learning, and these scholars have been exposed to a wide range of STEM careers while interacting with NASA personnel. We are committed to engaging students from throughout the Commonwealth, including students from areas that generally do not have access to these kinds of programs. And that's why VESS and all the programs that we do are free to all participants. We will be tracking these scholars over the next few years to learn about their college and career choices and to offer them information on future opportunities through Virginia Space Grant Consortium, such as scholarships, fellowships, internships, and many other programs. If you are a junior this year and be a senior next year, you can participate in Virginia Aerospace Science and Technology Scholars, or our VASS program, or our Pathways Flight Academies program, which provides flight training for students who want to pursue a commercial pilot career. Also for aspiring pilots, we have a free online private pilot ground school course that will be offered in the fall of this year, and that was just announced yesterday. As you move into college, Virginia Space Grant offers scholarships, fellowships, internships, student flight design projects. We can help you with your next steps in your career. You are now part of the NASA family and the Virginia Space Grant family. And the success of VESS is a wonderful team effort, and I would now like to recognize our staff for their outstanding work. Rudo Kashiri is our Education Programs Manager. Kari Espada is our VESS Program Coordinator. Kari's done a great job of coordinating and leading this VESS Academy. And Priscilla Hill, in the back, provides all the administrative and logistical support for the program. Justin Lee is our media intern this summer, and he's documented the scholars' experience, and you'll be and you'll be seeing the fruits of his labor near the end of the program. So as I said, this is a great partnership with NASA Langley, and now I'd like to introduce Kevin Rivers. He's the Associate Director of NASA Langley Research Center. Kevin is our partner in offering the VESS program, and he and NASA Langley have been just amazing partners. They open their doors to these programs, and we just really appreciate that and all the wonderful mentors and everything. So please welcome Kevin Rivers.
Thank you all. Good morning. Good morning. Let me put my eyes on. Some of you may not realize when you get old you have to do this. As Chris mentioned, I am Kevin Rivers. I'm the Associate Director for Technical here at NASA Langley. I want to welcome all of you here as we celebrate our scholars, our VESS scholars. And thank you for spelling that out, Chris, because I was really worried I was going to have to remember Virginia Earth System Science Scholars, and I don't have to do that. I can just say VESS, which is probably what you guys have all said this week, right? Yeah. Could you say it before, what it actually is? Oh, okay, that's good. That's good. Congratulations, scholars. You've had a busy and successful week of scientific investigation, and I want to let you know a little secret. We do cooperate closely with Chris and his team on this. Some would think because we can inspire you, but that's not why we do it. We do it because you inspire us. And we are so inspired to see you and see your energy and your interest and your curiosity, and we are just so excited to participate in this program. So this week you looked at the Earth as a system of systems. You considered the dynamic interplay among all of those systems, and you worked in teams to design interrelated Earth observation satellite missions to study the atmosphere, the biosphere, the hydrosphere, the lithosphere, and the cryosphere, and how they all interact with each other, and how critical each is to each other. You also learned another thing about how critical you are to each other. You learned that NASA, industry, and academia, our universities and partners, scientists, engineers, and technologists all interact to make these missions possible. You also learned the vital role of other skills like budgeting and planning and communications and how those are critical to what we do every day in Earth science. I hope you found this week rewarding and eye-opening, and by all accounts, you met the challenge and you did it well. So let's give our scholars a round of applause. So I also want to recognize another important group of people, the family and friends who encouraged and supported you as scholars this week. So thank you, family and friends, for your support. As you've come to know this week, NASA Langley has a rich history and innovation in science, aeronautics, and space technology. And what's really interesting is people know that, and they don't come here to study that history. They come here to make history, and that's what you guys are preparing to do, so I'm very excited about that. Our NASA research is helping the world to understand and address the causes of climate change. We're gathering the facts and the insights that policymakers will use to make decisions to set a course for a thriving future. Some of the missions and instruments that we are responsible for at NASA Langley include the SAGE 3 instrument, which is actually currently on the International Space Station making critical measurements in the stratosphere. We also have the Clario mission, which is actively making measurements. And we just recently launched TEMPO. And TEMPO is actually measuring pollutants across the North American continent. It is actually part of an international conglomerate, if you will, of satellites. We're working with the Koreans and the Europeans, who also have instruments that are making measurements, and we are making measurements of pollution in any location on this continent by the minute, which is just going to be exciting. That instrument's coming online here hopefully in the next couple of months, and we're so excited about how it's going to inform how we can make life better for folks here on the planet. NASA is also preparing for the first woman and first person of color to set foot on the moon. And wouldn't it be great if that was one person? Or two people. I'd be okay with that too. But NASA is going to the moon as we've never done before. We are actually planning a permanent presence there. We are actively developing a space station called the Gateway, which will orbit around the moon and be a stepping off point for us to get to the surface of the moon efficiently. On the surface of the moon, we're going to have outposts, we're going to do science, we're going to do exciting things. So what a great time for NASA and for all of the folks that participate with us to make those missions a reality. We'll use what we learn on the moon for the next giant leap, which is going to be sending astronauts to Mars. And we're so excited at NASA Langley to be participating in those missions as well as science. Langley is going to once again play a vital role in this new era by creating and testing concepts, materials, and technologies that are needed to pioneer missions in space. And we do that, as you learned this week, because we do it together. So I'd actually like to show you guys a short video right now, if you don't mind. Has to do that. Yeah. Look, it's my job. I am the closer. Thank you very much. So, yeah, that's an exciting video. So I hope what you take away from that video is that NASA succeeds through diversity and teamwork. No one group of people has cornered the market on good ideas. And for us to thrive, we have to be united. We have to work together. We have to work as one team. So Chris, if you'd like to come up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, that video never gets old. I enjoy that. So now I'd like to turn the program over to Rudo Kashiri, Education Programs Manager, and Kari Espada, the Program Coordinator.
Good morning. Good morning, scholars. Good morning. Oh, we can do better than that. Good morning, scholars. Great job. All right, good morning, our invited guests and NASA. Thank you so much for coming today. And we're going to hear a lot about what happened this week, but I just want you to know that when we had our conversation with the parents on Thursday, seems like a long time ago, last week, we did talk about your students' transformation will have happened this week. I believe it did. So when you go home today, you're going to hear a lot about what happened this week. But one thing I want you to do is if you try to ask them anything today, they're probably going to sleep in the car. You're not going to hear a whole lot. So just give them some time, and you're going to hear everything that happened this week. Yeah, they were working so hard this week. If also you did not get a chance to see the video, the streaming yesterday, you're going to be able to see the whole video. I know some people had issues with sound. We're going to give you everything that you missed, the sound and everything, so you're going to be able to see it. Now, just wait until August. We have 3 more academies to go through, and then special coordinator works on the media stuff. Is going to have to work some stuff together, make sure that everything is good, and then you will get it sometime in August. You're going to get that video from yesterday. You're going to get the video from today we're recording for those members who miss it. And also, you got to get a video, the video that we're going to play at the end. So we got to make sure that you have all of that. And also, if you have students that are in other programs, make sure you pick up a flyer in the back. We have so many of those flyers, some of them that Chris did talk about earlier. So scholars, I am so proud of you. You guys worked so hard. It seemed like a long week. Some of you, when you came in on Saturday, I didn't even know you were going to talk at all. But seeing you yesterday, you guys were just opening up. It is so hard when you are at your school, maybe the smartest student, and you're used to doing everything. Everybody's following you. This week, you were challenged with 12 other students on your team, as smart as you are, and some of them smarter than you. So it was a little challenging for some of you, and some of you was okay. I'm so glad to say that we had a great week, and this is really, really a good group of students. So parents, I just have one word of advice to help you with your children. Keep doing what you're doing, it's working. Yes. Now, your students did go through a lot this week. And like I say, they're already smart, and I cannot teach them to be smart. But we did work on critical skills. Some of them were asking me why we're making them stand up and sit down together. Well, we're teaching them teamwork. So they learned how to work with each other. They learned that they have to depend on each other. They could not be late to meetings. They cannot just sleep and not wake up. So they were always there for each other because they actually had fines when they were breaking any of those rules. So quickly realized that they got to work as a team. So this week, they learned how to do budgets. They had a big budget. They had all to work on as 5 teams trying to create missions going to study the earth. They also had to do proposals. Some of these students are used to writing a 5-page report and in 5-10 minutes, and it's good. Here they found out they had to do a 5-sentence proposal, maybe multiple times before it was approved. So they did learn that what you write is very critical to the money that you get. So you have to depend on each other and also be able to check on what you're doing. So they also learned time management. We did have crunch time Thursday at 1 o'clock. They learned how to manage that time. And also, I think during the school year, you guys also got a chance to learn how to do time management. I just say congratulations for you all doing that during the school year. I know it probably was hard. Your friends were probably playing out there, and you had those Sunday night deadlines for VESSS course, and you guys stuck with it, and this is the fruit of your labor. So congratulations. I don't know how many people can say this summer I designed a mission at NASA. You guys can say that. So when you ask, what did you do this summer? You got something that you can talk about. Some of you are going to college. Like I was telling you guys earlier, please reach back to us because we want you to come back as interns. We want you to make sure that you stay with us. I know our director did go over a lot of programs that we have. We want to make sure that you're aware of those programs and you keep up with those programs. When you leave today, scholars, I would like for you to reflect on this week. Keep a notebook. Like I'm saying, you always have to have something to write on and something to write with wherever you go. As the memories come, you want to write them down because some of these are going to come in handy a lot later. So you learned a lot from the people here, from your master teachers. I know the first day, y'all got a Saturday. Somebody said, here's my card. Just do the QR code, and you might be able to get a scholarship. I hope some of you took up on her. When I talked to her, she said she already had some people responding. Remember, Ms. Wise, the first day on Saturday? So all the people that you met, you remember to keep in touch. So one of the things that we learned this week, parents, is networking. So your students were supposed to be keeping up with who they met. There were so many people that they did run into. NASA, we want to thank you so much, Mr. Rivers, for allowing us to be here for this week. We did virtual academies a couple of years ago during pandemic. It's not the same. Being here was really good. They actually got a chance to tour. I know the students last year did not get a chance to tour the clean room, and this group did. So we really appreciate you allowing us to be here this week. So parents, when you leave, we have the students' luggage on the bus. I also have some of the students have their luggage in here because we had to get rid of the van. We had 60 students. Like Chris was saying, we were able to increase our numbers. The bus could only take 55, so we had to get a van to make sure we transported everybody. The van had to be turned in, so we don't pay extra money. So there's going to be some luggage indoor. So please don't forget your luggage. I know I say this every year, and last week we had some people forgetting their luggage. So what we're going to do now is we are going to hear from the program so you guys can hear everything that happened this week. Now, before I do that, I would like to introduce Project Coordinator Kari. I really want to thank you. I know you came in the middle. It's kind of hard to come in when somebody else has done an agenda and you try to follow something, and you did a great job. I really appreciate you for doing what you did. Now, before I do that, also Mary Hing, Dr. Hing, thank you so much for being there to help filling the gaps, making sure that we are in the right place. Ian, thank you for stepping in when I need to step out once in a while, and also Priscilla back there. So thank you guys so much for making this program work. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to ask Kari to come, and you can introduce your team, and then also the students.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Virginia Earth Systems Science Scholars Closing Ceremony. I am Kari Espada, the VESS Program Coordinator, this would not have been possible without my Summer Academy team. So my team is composed of 6 master teachers: Dr. Hing, Miss C, Miss Edwards, Miss Smith Edwards, Miss Clark, and Dr. Fiedler. And to assist us in making this a collaborative effort with our 5 spheres, I also had 10 interns. Julia Carter, Zachary Edicola, Jada Hines, Bryce Coughlin, Josie Hoffman, Nicole Edenfield, Brandon Wynn, Natalie Coates, Marissa Lewis, and Catherine May Hubbard. So your scholars were involved in a 7-day intensive residential, and that also would not have been possible without our mentors. These mentors guided them through every phase of the research proposal that they had to write, and we again appreciate NASA for providing our mentors, as well as Sammy and Howmet and all of our sponsors. So thank you again for allowing us to be here, and we will turn it over to our scholars.
Okay, the moment you've been waiting for. So each team has a leader. And on Saturday, the first day, they got to interview for positions. And you're going to hear about some of those positions. And some of the students weren't really keen about the position they got, but they learned a lot. So you're going to hear about the position that your child took. But for every team to work, there has to be one leader. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to hear from the project scientists from each team. If the project scientists would stand up for me, please. Project scientists. And how are we doing this? Are you advancing for us?
Good morning, everyone. You guys can do better than that. Come on. All right, my name is Tristan Corey. I'm really excited to be here. I was the project scientist for the cryosphere. And over the past week, me and my excellent team of scholars have designed a satellite-based mission called IMPACT. Now, what IMPACT stands for is ice measurements for polar amplification for cryospheric tracking. What polar amplification is the more accelerated rate of heating in the polar regions than everywhere else in the world. So basically the poles are getting hotter and the rest of the world is comparatively not getting as hot as quickly. And the goal of our mission was to characterize the causes and effects of this phenomenon by investigating albedo, ocean and wind currents, and developments concerning polar vortexes and Arctic oscillation. To do this, we would be employing a variety of instruments. The first one is the Advanced Technology Microwave Sounder, known as ATMS. And the next one is the Moderate Resolution Imaging Spectroradiometer, known as MODIS, and Poseidon 3B. Now, in terms of budget, we started off with $1.5 billion. Now, unfortunately, due to budget cuts, we had to cut out $250 million, which is a lot of money, and we had to coordinate that with the other teams. However, due to our ability to have meetings throughout this time, we were able to communicate with the other teams and coordinate our needs, and in the end, we were able to split the costs of instruments and essential mission elements, which helped out a lot. We actually cut out, believe it or not, billions of dollars from our budget. So we were actually under budget by the end of the mission. And so the next part is our mission patch, which encompasses the spirit of our mission with symbols such as NASA's red, white, and blue, which is evident throughout the design, an iceberg with a satellite overhead, which is adding emphasis to the mission's objective of investigating those polar regions and the Arctic. And our sponsors, of course, NASA, as well as NOAA, USGS, and Northrop Grumman. Their emblems are also included in our design because they were instrumental in being able to afford the elements that we had for our mission. And last but not least, the 15 snowflakes included in the border of our design are symbolic for our mission team, and that includes our master teacher as well as our interns. Speaking of those 15, I would now like to take a moment to recognize my incredibly hardworking and talented group of colleagues. Without them, I would not be here today presenting with you a mission because it would be impossible to have one without them. So parents, please hold your applause until the end. And scholars, please stand up and face the audience when you are recognized. Alex, Deputy Project Scientist. Violet, it's all good. Violet and Adarsh, our research analysts. Ola and Nicole, our budget analysts. Darren, my launch and orbit specialist. Astrid, the contamination and risk analyst. Caden, the calibration and validation analyst. Olivia, our applied scientist. And last but not least, AJ and Aaliyah, our amazing mission outreach team. You can now. I would also like to give a special thanks to our master teacher, Ms. Cintron. Please stand up. You're amazing. I wanted to recognize you. As well as our two interns, Josie and Bryce. Yes. And I will hand this off to the next project scientist. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Adair Poyer, and I'm the project scientist for the Hydrosphere. This is our mission COAST, which stands for Coastal Current Observation and Analysis of Sea Trends. This mission falls under NASA's strategic plan, specifically under Discover 1.1, which has the goal of studying the climate and the Earth as it continues to change. And it also qualifies under the Decadal Survey of 2018, and that this survey suggests to study rising sea levels in response to global warming as the ocean expands due to more heat in the atmosphere and sea ice melts in response as well. The Decadal Survey also suggests to study the accelerating coastal currents, which this mission does as well as flooding and storm surge. Ultimately, our mission goals are to study the strength of storm surges and floods, as well as the impact of global sea level rise on coastal currents and offshore currents. To measure storm surge, we measured 3 different factors, which were wind speed, wave height, and offshore current speed. And to do this, we used the Poseidon 3B altimeter. And to measure the impact of global sea level rise on coastal currents, we measured ocean height using an instrument called MODIS, as well as temperature and speed of offshore currents as well with the Poseidon 3B altimeter. Our proposed cost initially was $992.5 million with a combination of all 5 teams and all 5 missions. However, our individual baseline budget was reduced to $184.9 million after collaborations with NOAA and other teams, as well as the USGS. Our biggest cost was mission operations and instruments, whereas our lowest costs were things like ground supports, electronics, and data communications. This is our team logo. As you can see, it has the abbreviation of COAST, which yet again stands for Coastal Current Observations and Analysis of Sea Trends around the sides. You can also see the satellite highlighting the different coastlines around the world to not only emphasize that this is a globally based mission, but also to show that our focus is on the coastlines. The wave that's overcoming the Earth signifies that we are studying global sea level rise as well as oceanic factors. On the right-hand side, you can also see our collaborative members, which include the United States Geological Survey and the National Oceanic Administration, or Atmospheric Administration, as well as Lockheed Martin. Now we ask you to please hold your applause until all of our team members have been called, and we ask all members and scholars to turn towards the audience. Quinn Cook, Deputy Project Scientist. Samantha Ho, Research Scientist. Advidya Srinivasan, Research Scientist. Drew Villasetti, Budget Analyst. Kenny Calhoun, Launch and Orbit Analyst. Charlotte Draney, Contamination and Risk Specialist. Brooklyn Maciejewski, Contamination and Risk Specialist. Shreya Lakshmi Sridhar, Calibration Validation Specialist. Sade Brayboy, Applied Scientist. Cassandra Kaminsky, Applied Scientist. And Sinead Ann Maloney, Mission Outreach Analyst. We would also like to give special thanks to the members of Virginia Space Grant Consortium who have made this possible, which include Dr. Mary Hing, Kari Espada, Ruta Kashiri, Jordan Edwards, Natalie Coates, and Zachary Adekola. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Jude Malik and I'm the project scientist for the Atmosphere Group, and I'm going to tell you a little bit on what we did for our mission. So our mission was called ARROS, which stands for the Atmospheric Rays and Reduction of Weather Severity. You can see our mission patch up there. Our goal was to align with NASA's strategic plan, which is discovery, exploration, innovation, and advancement. We focused on the discovery aspect of this, trying to relate the adverse effects of climate change onto the weather characteristics. Our mission focused on the 2018 Decadal Survey, and Decadal Survey is just questions offered by NASA scientists in order to kind of direct mission goals for the future. This was the W4 priority application question, which stated, why do convective storms, heavy precipitation, and clouds occur exactly when and where they do? This is basically asking how do convection currents establish these different changes in the weather patterns. So our mission science goal was to relate these convective patterns to the severity of weather to understand the movement and duration of these storms. This is because of the climate change affecting the convection currents and those potential adverse effects on the weather characteristics. Our instruments, we used the same ones that the cryosphere used, MODIS and ATMS. Those were the instruments that measured the frequency and location of these storms, the atmospheric temperature, and the wind speed and duration. Our sponsorships include the NOAA and USGS from the public sector and Lockheed Martin from the private sector. Here we have our budget. These are the original expenses minus the shared expenses in order to calculate our total saving in order to collaborate. So through our collaboration with the other teams, we were able to make this budget go down $480 million personally for our team. That is just incredible and shows exactly why we needed all of these teams to collaborate together as well as they did. As far as our personal budget, the main thing was the instruments that costed $106.26 million. So here's our team logo. The ARROS mission, we have arrows in the middle, and then we have on the edges around the globe that you see there, the arrows that represent the convection currents that we're studying. And we have clouds on the bottom, which represents the storms that we're also studying. The satellite on the edge of the patch represents how we are measuring these current storms. But now this is the moment where I get to show off my team. So I'm gonna ask that the team members stand up and turn around and smile and look pretty for all the cameras. And I ask that you hold your applause, but you can take as many pictures as you'd like. So I'm going to go a little bit out of order here, and they will be able to tell you why, because these people were the dynamic duos of our group. So we're going to have Isabel and Noel stand up first. Isabel Evans was the contamination and risk specialist, and Noel Searing was the applied scientist for our group. And next we're going to have Sean Martin and Philip Callahan. I always mess up. Stand up. These guys are so cool, and they always get really in depth with their study into what they do. Sean Martin was the launch and orbit analyst, while Philip Callahan was the calibration and validation scientist. And now we're gonna keep going down the line. We have Michelle, she was the deputy project scientist, helping keep me sane and deal with all the mail that we get. Next, we have Kaylin Womack, one of the research scientists, and Abby Chang, another research scientist. Both of these people were very instrumental in getting all the information that we needed. Next, we have Maria Cosma, budget analyst, as well as Hari Balaji, our other budget analyst. These were also very important, especially with communication with other teams. Next, we're going to have Sam Myers stand up. We got the contamination and risk specialist, the other one, as well as Isabel, who's already up. These guys had their work cut out for them as far as the budget for contamination was concerned, and I'm so happy with all the work that they did. Last but not least, we have Lana Assad. We get to talk about the mission outreach analyst. So important, so many questions that were asked about that. So I'm very glad that she was able to do as much as she did. And that's my team. Oh, and they sat down together too. How about that? Next, I'd like to especially thank our master teacher, Ms. Swith Edwards, if you could stand up for us. Very helpful, not only in helping us out as far as our research is concerned, but also keeping us on track. Next, our special thanks continue to Julia Carter and May Hubbard, our interns. If you could stand up, come on. These guys are like the best, and we love them so much. All right, I'll hand it over to Peter.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Peter Scott, and I am the project scientist for the lithosphere. So our mission was called the LAVA mission, or it stands for Low Altitude Volcanic Analysis. So our mission fell under NASA Strategic Plan 1.1, which says expand human knowledge through new scientific discoveries. And it also fell under the Decadal Survey, which happens every decade from the National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine, where they outline some key areas of scientific research. And our mission fell under Section 10, Goal S1A, which has measured the pre-synchronous and post-eruption surface deformation products over this entire active land volcano inventory. And S2B similarly states assess surface deformation, extent of surface change, and atmospheric contamination and composition. So these three goals led us to our overall mission science goal, which was use known phenomena in volcanic eruptions regarding the deformation in landscape and change in surface temperature in order to better predict oncoming eruptions. So as magma rises to the surface around plate fault lines, magma will rise, and we can detect the changes in surface temperature through heat conduction, and we can detect surface bulging as the hot magma displaces the crust above it. So our primary instruments for measuring these two factors were a synthetic aperture radar, or SAR. This instrument measures very precise changes in surface altitude down to several millimeters. And we used the MODIS instrument with the rest of the team's moderate resolution spectroradiometer to better understand the surface temperature change as magma rises to the surface. As for our budget, we had a total budget for our team of $250 million, which, if you're following the trend, was not enough. We used $50 million on mission ops, 7.5 for communications, and $10 million for public outreach. And here you can see that a whole 50% of our budget was for our instrumentation and qualifications, and the rest was split up for our launch, power, and cleanliness. So after we share all of our budget costs, we saved a total of $732.4 million and got the total budget for all 5 teams under budget by $78.9 million. Here we can see our team logo, which is a yellow triangle symbolizing our goal to help forecast volcanic eruptions as hazards that we need to keep track of. We can also see Earth and volcanoes depicted here as they are the source and subject of our study. And we can also see a satellite, as that is the way we will be analyzing these and the global coverage with which we can get. On the bottom, we also will see our two agency sponsors, the United States Geological Survey, or USGS, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. There's also Northrop Grumman down below, which was our private partner. Now I would like to thank our team members. These amazing people put this whole team together, this whole project together. I could definitely not do it by myself or even do it anywhere near as good as they did it. So we'll go down the line, and I ask that you hold your applause till the very end. And I ask that the team members stand up, smile for all the cameras, turn around, take a look, and enjoy it. As our deputy project scientist, Joshua McLeod. As one of our research scientists, Angela Stevens. As our other research scientist, Hudson James. As our budget analyst, Rashad Prabhu. As our launch and orbit analyst, Ryan Lawrence. As our contamination and risk specialist, Gabriel Ignacio. As our contamination and validation scientist, Thomas Edenfield. As our applied scientist, Nina Argel. And as our mission outreach analyst, Kaylee Beck. You guys have really done wonderful work. Thank you. And then finally, I would like to give a special thanks to our master teacher, Megan Clark. She has really helped us and guided us through this process. And our two wonderful interns, Brandon and Marissa. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Shreya Rajan, and I'm the project scientist for the biosphere. Our mission is PRIDE, which stands for Phenology Rates Influencing Distribution Events. PRIDE aligns with NASA's Strategic Objective 1.1 to understand Earth systems as well as its climate. It also aligns with Objective 1.3, as we aim to ensure that NASA's science data is available to all and provides practical benefits to all of society. Like said before, we also aligned with Objective E1A of the Decadal Survey, as we are looking at terrestrial vegetation and marine biomass spatially and over time. Our overall mission goal is to study an aspect of climate change. Specifically, we're looking at the increasing average surface temperature as well as the bee distributions across North America, specifically the United States. For a bit of background, if you look on the right, you can see the graph. And if you look over the past century, the average surface temperature has increased dramatically. So in terms of what we're measuring photosynthetic activity, average surface temperature, bee distribution trends, and time. We're able to accomplish this through the MODIS instrument, which is basically a spectrometer and a radiometer. We're also getting our data for the bee distribution trends through our partnerships with the NOAA and the USGS, as they're able to provide data on bee distributions across North America. And if you look to the picture, that's an image of MODIS in orbit. In terms of our budget, this is the baseline cost breakdown budget for the PRIDE mission. The total cost that we ended up arriving at was $183.3 million, and we had a $260 million budget to start with. We spent about 4.7% of the revenue in reserve in case anything malfunctions and for backup plans, essentially. And since we were only using the MODIS instrument, we only spent 4.7% of our budget on our instrument. Essentially, by sharing all our costs with our partnerships with the NOAA and USGS, as well as the other spheres and teams, we're able to minimize all our costs and end up being under budget, like the other spheres had said. So this is our team logo. As you can see, a map of the United States is displayed because we're basically going to be studying the phenology rates of plants and the bee distribution rates at this only in the United States. Bees and flowers are displayed because they're the population of interest that we're studying. As well as if you look on the top, the satellite is displayed to inform the public that that's how we're gathering our data and how we're going to proceed with our mission. And our partnerships with the USDA, NASA, USGS, and the NOAA are presented at the bottom of our sphere. So all of this entire mission would not be possible without my amazing team. I'm incredibly grateful to be a part of their team, and I'm so glad I was able to join the biosphere. So I ask all of you to hold your applause as I go through the entire theme. And also, Biosphere, when you get up, try to turn to the audience. And yeah, so Emma Arguello, who's our Deputy Project Scientist, Isabella White, who's our Research Scientist, Rachel Carras, our Research Scientist, Ali Jong, our Budget Analyst, Yagun Badardine, our Launch and Orbit Analyst, Jaden Ko, our Contamination and Risk Specialist, Ben Veneris, our Calibration and Validation Scientist, Emma Forrest, our Applied Scientist, Isaiah Green, our Applied Scientist, Bidushi Basnet, our Mission Outreach Analyst, and Emily Warren, our Mission Outreach Analyst. We'd also like to give a special thanks to Dr. Fielder, our master teacher. You're very helpful in our mission, and I'm very grateful that all of us could be on the Biosphere team, as well as our interns Nicole and Jada. They were very helpful, and I'm so glad I got to meet them.
Okay, so you wonder what did we do this week? This is what we did this week. And that's why I say it's just gonna be a lot you guys are gonna hear about when you go home, on the way home, or maybe tomorrow, next week, once they do catch up on the sleep. They worked really hard this week, as you can see. And scholars, be proud of yourselves. I mean, for you to put up this kind of mission in 6 days that NASA does in 10 years, that's kind of like what they were working on. So this is really good. All right, so thank you so very much. And before you go up, sit down, we have another group of students that are going to talk to you guys right now, and now you're going to hear more about the experience of the students about the VESS program. So if all the speakers will stand up, please. And you can come over, and then you guys can go sit down.
Good morning. My name is Aaliyah, and I was the Mission Outreach Analyst for the Cryosphere team. And I'd like to share my experience with my first Virginia Space Grant Consortium Summer Academy because I'm very excited. So the reason why I came was I had a friend named Christine Sellers who did VESSS last year. And she was like, girl, this is so fun. And then I was like, okay. So I looked at it, and I was like, I'm kind of more of a climate change nerd, so I thought I'd probably fit VESS in the VESS program, which is why I'm here. And the first question that I was asked was from Josie and Bryce, and they were like, are you a scientist or are you an engineer? And I was like, I think I'm an engineer because my Lansdowne High School was more of like a governor STEM program, so I did more of like the AutoCAD and like building things. So like I didn't really think that science was my thing. But then we started talking about polar amplification and albedo, and I was like, wait, this is kind of cool. And especially, I like to thank our research scientists for like kind of teaching me how everything works, like Grace Follow-On, which is one of the ISAT missions, not ISAT missions, but like one of the NASA missions, and I thought it was really cool to learn about. And then I like to thank Dr. Moore, which was one of our presenters. He is a planetary scientist, and he was like, more so, he learns about the Earth's movements in different planets, and I found a really big interest in that. And I was like, this is really nice to learn because I learned how the Earth is always interconnected and everything happens for a reason, and I loved it. So I learned that from this academy itself, I gained public speaking skills, which I hope you guys can see today. I joined teamwork and got better with working as a team and not doing everything by myself. And I also learned that communication is very, very, very important when you have such a short deadline. And I'd like to make a few acknowledgments for the people who made this the best program possible. I'd like to thank my Cryosphere team for showing me that teams do exist and they're amazing when it works right. I'd like to thank my, my master teacher and my interns for believing in me when I was overwhelmed. And I'd like to thank my roommate for showing me that there's always room for laughter. So thank you, I appreciate it.
Hello, my name is Quinn Cook, and I was the Deputy Project Scientist for the Hydrosphere team this week. And I absolutely loved the VESS Summer Academy. I first discovered Virginia Space Grant Consortium last year with the VESSS program, and I was absolutely blown away by how much I changed in just 1 week. So almost immediately after I finished that, I began to apply to VESS, and I'm so glad that I did. Because VESS has taught me and how to build these soft skills that I will be using for the rest of my life. That includes things like communication skills, whether that's through technical writing, presenting, or even just communicating with your team. I learned so much about how to express ideas efficiently and effectively. On top of that, I learned more about how to be a leader and how to remove hedging language and all of that stuff about being a leader that I really enjoyed. On top of that, we also had the great experience of being here at NASA Langley Research Center and networking with the amazing people here. I mean, just a few days ago, we met with an Earth System project manager who was actually the project manager for the Calypso mission, which was just absolutely astonishing to hear about, and it's so much fun. And as someone who goes to school in a county where there aren't as many opportunities, I was really blown away by VASTS and VESS. Both of these programs helped me grow as a student, fortify my academic mindset, and grow as a person. And so I would like to thank my teammates for providing me with such an amazing experience, the interns, and my master teacher, because none of this would have been as amazing without you guys. So thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Sam Myers, and I was the contamination and risk analyst for the atmosphere team. So I started my journey with Space Coast Scholars all the way, with the Space Grant Consortium with Space Coast Scholars my sophomore year. It was very hard adjusting to the atmosphere of online learning, and we had to do that through Space Coast. But I still had an amazing time, and it inspired me to sign up for VASP my junior year, and then VESS, of course, my senior year. Because when I learned about Wallops Flight Facility, through a virtual tour, it was just so amazing how much NASA could accomplish. And I wanted to experience that in person myself and talk to the amazing scientists that exist here. So once I got to VASS, it was a little bit terrifying because just making a mission to Mars sounded absolutely daunting. Yet my amazing team made it possible. Shout out to Peter Scott. He was my project scientist leader last year. It was nice seeing him again this year. And now, VESS. VESS, I was like, oh, VAS, I did this before. I can do VESS. It'll be so chill, and I won't be worried at all. How wrong I was. I was still stressed out of my mind, but I learned so much from this experience. I learned about all the new positions that VAST didn't have available to me. I learned about how much budget can constrain our efforts throughout our mission. And also just having different missions and trying to coordinate with all the other teams was such a different experience that I learned so much from. This course has pushed me out of my comfort zone so many times, yet I've continuously grown and excelled at whatever came my way. Last week, I didn't know what contamination and cleanliness rooms were. I barely knew anything about it. Now I know how to calculate particulate and molecular contamination levels and know how an ISO 5 clean room works. I know everyone on my team has grown so much from this experience, and I'm proud of everything we've accomplished. Thank you, Ms. Smith, and thank you, our interns, so much. And thank you, everyone who has helped, especially our project scientists. I have a little something for you. Just gonna pull it up. Let's try it.
Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better.
Thank you so much, Jude. You're the best.
That's going to be tough to follow up. So, hi everyone. My name is Rashad Prabhu, and I'm a rising senior at Thomas Jefferson High School and the budget analyst for the Lithosphere Group. I was inspired to participate in the VESS program after hearing wonderful things about the VSCS Summer Academy from my friends. Since the first day I stepped foot in this Academy, I was amazed at how friendly my entire team was. And throughout the week, I've created wonderful memories and lifelong friendships with my team. I had a lot of fun with my friends, playing music and charades on the bus, trick shots and cards at my dorm, and making lithosphere puns during our meals. Speaking of our meals, they were amazing. As a vegetarian, I wasn't expecting much, but my expectations were absolutely exceeded, and the ice cream was top-notch. Now, onto the academic aspects of the Academy. The presentations and the speakers were absolutely phenomenal and gave me a great insight onto what it means to be a scientist and a budget analyst. I especially enjoyed the tours of the flight hangar and the contamination facility, and I was able to meet with some brilliant experts and pull their expertise and use it into our mission. Last, and certainly not least, I want to talk about my role as the budget analyst. I had to communicate with my entire team, especially my research scientist, my CalVal scientist, contamination specialist, and project scientist to incorporate all of their specifications into the budget. I hope we're going to make some groundbreaking discoveries with our satellite, and I just want to thank my entire team. I want to thank my interns and my master teacher to make this week a rock-solid week. And I would love to come back next time. Thank you.
Lights sure are bright up here. But my name is Isaiah Green. I'm just going to be talking about my VESS experience. But first, I got to express my gratitude to all the people who made this week possible for the 57 students in front of me today. This past week, I had the privilege of hanging out with 12 high schoolers who come from different corners of VA, but are all just as smart, driven, and nerdy as I am. Through the course of this week, we've formed a strong bond and have become closer than I've ever imagined. I mean, we practically turned a family. Last night, we even had a movie night where we all sang along to the movie, even though none of us are singers. I've genuinely enjoyed spending my time with all of you in the biosphere and creating lasting memories. It has been an incredible, fun, and stressful week. Now, if we're being real, the whole VSS experience has not been fun at all. Picture this. Every other weekend from December to April, where most teenagers were out having a life, I'd come home from work, only to lock myself in my room for what felt like an eternity. Why, you ask? Well, I had to write mind-boggling long papers on topics that seemed to have to do with nothing. And don't even get me started on those graphs that look like they were drawn by a 5-year-old crawling on the walls. Let me tell you, those moments during the online course when I seriously contemplated if VESS was really for me. Those were times I look at my phone and see messages from my friends, living it up, partying like there's no tomorrow. Meanwhile, I was stuck in my room, struggling to find the words to explain how a meteor killed the dinosaurs. I couldn't help but question if all this hard work was actually worth it. But hey, guess where I am? NASA, baby. Right here at the NASA Langley Research Center. It's like a dream come true without the astronaut suit. The hard work I put into those 8 papers each weekend have paid off. Being surrounded by the brilliant minds and being inside a NASA building has lit a fire in me. I'm hungrier than ever to work my butt off and make my way back to NASA. The VESS Academy experience has been more than I could ever imagine. It's shown me that working at NASA isn't some far-fetched dream I had as a kid. So to everyone who made this week possible, for me and my fellow 57 students, you're not just making dreams come true, you're crafting a future of success. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys so much. I'm getting teary-eyed just sitting here listening to you guys. And I guess there's some story behind the music that we might hear about later. All right, I wasn't in on that joke, so maybe I ask later. All right, thank you so much. Now we're gonna do the video. You got that? Yeah.
that's what VESS is all about, the experiences and the knowledge from the experts in the industry. There we go. Technical difficulties. Yeah. I can't see. Is it on the play button? There we go. There.
That was one of the goals of this course, was to create an opportunity for people like you to get excited about the Earth, to get excited about studying the Earth and finding out about the Earth. And the goal here is not to turn you all into Earth scientists. I mean, that would be great, but the goal is not to turn you all into Earth scientists. The Earth needs you. The Earth needs all of you, no matter what it is you are doing. It needs you to think about it, to think about the consequences of what you're doing for the Earth, for how we're going to keep living on this Earth for the next however many centuries we manage to do it. If it's going to be more than one, we've really got to start thinking about it hard now. So.
The most effective one, I would say, is that it's not one person isn't going to solve it, right? We all have to get a team together, because in order to trust is really developed is a person-to-person thing, right? And so the most impactful people, the most impactful information from another person comes from somebody that they trust. So I think if we, each of us, talk to our friends and neighbors and family about this, it's probably
Congrats, Hydrosphere. Y'all did a great job this week, and we're so proud of all of you.
Congratulations, Atmosphere.
We're so proud of y'all.
Congrats, Biosphere.
Congrats, Lithosphere.
You guys rock. Congrats, Cryosphere. You're the coolest.
Congratulations, VESS scholars!
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Wow. Oh, I don't want to stop the clapping. I am so inspired by your guys' experience in this program. So, VESS scholars, great job on your week of scientific discovery with NASA Langley. I can tell you this was a challenging and rewarding week. Thank you for sharing your mission work. I'm impressed. And those of you who shared your reflections, thank you for being real. I appreciate that. I'd like to remind you that the work that you did this week is very much like the work we do every day here at NASA Langley. You can do it. Study hard, prepare, and try and innovate, and you can do it. I hope this week you witnessed the value of diverse perspectives, the value of diverse experience and backgrounds. Here at Langley, we know that inclusion fuels innovation. We depend on the fresh thinking that can only come from a team that is multifaceted. Now, as VESS graduates, you should consider yourselves part of the Langley family. Thank you for being part of our journey. Wherever your careers take you, I challenge you to do great things and difficult things. Do that, and you can lead the way to a better future for all of us. From all of us here at NASA Langley, thank you, and again, congratulations.
Wow, that was amazing. So entertaining and inspiring. Parents, you should be proud. Excellent job. This really concludes the program, but parents, don't leave yet because we're going to have the scholars. Please remain seated while they exit. Don't forget your luggage. Parents, you'll be able to join the scholars in a moment in the back of the room for some refreshments. And do not forget your luggage. And so you ready to exit? Okay. Thank you all. Thank you very much.